A quorum.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Jimmy, would you please lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bill has joined us now. I have proof of publication here. Visitors and correspondents, anyone desiring to speak on any item or issue not on the agenda or any item on the agenda that does not include a public hearing may do so, but shall be limited to 3 minutes. Persons should identify themselves by name and address. Persons speaking should not expect the council to engage in back and forth dialogue regarding their comments. Unless an agenda item includes a public hearing, no person may speak during the business portion of the meeting, provided, however, persons speaking during a public hearing are limited between 5 and 20 minutes. The public is advised that a copy of the Opens Meeting Act is located on the north wall of the council chamber, and one copy of all reproducible written material to be discussed at this meeting is available for examination or copying. I entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. Does anybody want to speak at this time? Okay, I entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second the motion.
Vote, please.
Hey, look at there.
All in favor? I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
Vote, please. All in favor? Number 8 is the 2026 Cornhusker State Games. Eric sent us an email. Mike, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, he sent an email to us to say that he couldn't make it tonight, so I'm speaking briefly on his behalf. We've been talking to Eric today. Interim Chief Wellman and I and Christie went through the whole plan with him quite extensively. He's already, in addition to us, coordinated with Douglas County, Mallard Landing, and Menards on how we're going to handle the traffic throughout that whole area. And we did decide that we are going to help them with our police department. There's going to be about 4 intersections that are going to be important that we're going to focus on. Mr. Moser has approved reimbursement to the city for the officer overtime during that operation, so he's been very helpful in working with that. You've all seen the maps. Are there any questions? So.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for approval of the revisions of the route requested by Douglas County for Cornhusker State Games.
I make a motion to approve the revised route.
Second.
Vote, please. All in favor? Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Valley Shores HOA.
Hi, I'm Derek O'Brien. I live at 28026 Sunrise Circle in Valley Shores, and I have 2 requests. The first one is a street closure for our fireworks that will be held on July 2nd. Just block off some entrances just so we can shoot. We'll be shooting from the empty lot right off of Wrightsmith in 280th.
So you're doing yours on Thursday?
Thursday night, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And the second one is we have a July 4th Kitty Parade on July 3rd. We'd like to close a couple of the, right along 281st Avenue for a couple circles for the kids to march up and down, have some fun.
Okay, I look for a motion to close, street closure 280th Street from Huron Circle to 280th Street on July 2nd. from 9 PM to 11 PM for the fireworks display.
Make a motion to approve?
I second the motion.
Vote, please. And then on the same one, just at Valley Shores, a street closure, 281st Avenue from Eagle Circle to Huron Circle on July 3rd from 9:30 to 1 PM for the Children's Parade.
I make a motion to approve?
I second.
Vote, please. Thank you. All
Thank you.
in favor?
Derek,
Thank you.
before you leave, do you need, does the city drop off the barricades?
They have in the past.
That's why I just want to make sure, I don't know how we,
Tim, are we gonna be able to do that?
Yeah, we'll drop them off on the corners and you guys will put them up.
Yep, that's what we're
Yeah,
doing. Perfect, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thanks, Derek.
Ginger Cove.
Hi, I'm Patty O'Connor. I live at 22 Ginger Cove Road. And we would like consideration for two requests. One is on Friday, July 3rd, street closure at the Ginger Cove entrance from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. so that our security company can monitor guests coming in and out of Ginger Cove while we have the fireworks show. And the second one is we have a short parade from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on July 4th. And so we would like to have the Ginger Cove Road from the entrance to Peppermill Point closed from 10 to 10:30.
Just so I understand, on the 3rd, when we close it, if for some reason emergency vehicles need to get out there, they can get out there, right?
Yeah, it's, the closure is that people are still coming and going, but it's checkpoint for
Okay.
security, but it's still, people are still
Alright.
driving on the street.
Okay, I look for a motion to close the Ginger Cove entrance on July 3rd from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. And they'll have a security company there.
I make a motion to approve on July 3rd, the entrance closure.
Second.
Vote, please. All in favor? And then on the same token here, we're gonna, looking for approval to close Ginger Cove Road from the Ginger Cove entrance to Peppermill Point on July 4th from 10 a.m. to 10:30 for their parade.
I make a motion to approve?
Second.
Vote, please. All in favor?
Thank you. Thank you for all you do for our community. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Number 11, consideration and action to accept the resignation of Bobby Martinez. And
I make a motion to accept the resignation of Bobby Martinez.
I need a second?
vote, please. All in favor? Number 12, interim police chief. Consideration and action to confirm the appointment of Jeffrey Willman as interim police chief. Jeff has been acting on this since Bobby left, the Monday after Bobby left. He's been doing an excellent job, I will say that.
Go ahead. I make a motion to confirm the appointment of Jeffrey Millman as interim police chief.
I second.
Vote, please. All in favor? Procurement policy.
Okay, this is me. So the current state statute and our city code section and procurement policy requires us to formally bid and advertise whenever a project will cost in excess of $30,000. The legislature revised the state statute this last legislative session to increase that amount from 30 to 90,000. And I think you have this in your packets. So we don't have to increase our threshold amount from 30 to 90, but we can if you want. And so this is on the agenda, not for any action, but just for discussion. I wanted to get your guidance and insight as to whether or not you're interested in changing our code section and procurement policy to match the states or not. If you do, then I think at the next meeting, you'll see an ordinance that incorporates those revisions. So
Can we go anywhere in between, you're saying?
you
as
could,
well?
yeah.
I think 30,000 is too low. I mean, we have to be cognizant of our taxpayers' money, so we should be going out to bid. And so I'd be in favor of raising it. I don't know if 90,000 is the number or what. What do you see in other communities our size?
Most communities just follow what the state statute says. Now, I've not had this discussion, Valley's the first one that I've discussed this change with, but I would anticipate just knowing the personalities and philosophies of other council and board members, they'll probably stick with the state statute. That's what I'd recommend. It's
Things
simple.
are easy.
Then there's no difference.
I guess I have some questions in regards to this. So when you do like a formal bid process, like it's out there, everyone can see it, stuff like that, right?
You advertise.
And then it obviously takes time away from the staff to have to operate all that. But just, have you ever seen a municipality like put in safeguards, like 0 to 10,000 staff discretion, maybe like 10 to 30,000, you get 2 quotes, 30 to 90,000, 3 written quotes, and then if it goes over 90,000, more of a formal bid, just some type of safeguard like that?
Yeah, I have seen that.
You wanna go that route?
I don't think it hurts to have it kind of broken out, but still make it easier on the staff, but just like, because I mean,
Well, the bids are only open for a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah, I mean, the bare minimum to advertise, it's all at once, I think, 7 days before the bids are due. And I'm not saying that's the best practice, but that's the minimal requirement. I suspect, Greg, you can weigh in here, but I'm guessing that we advertise 2 times or 3 times.
Yeah, typically.
Depending upon the project, I suppose. But
Sure.
The bare minimum is just once.
Jimmy, good question, and Melanie too. Basically, we do advertise usually 3 weeks on all of our public bids, just to give them the advance notice. State statute usually says that, to do that for 3 weeks. The other part would be to your question on what other communities are doing. Nebraska will probably follow state statutes, just like Matt suggested. If we look over on the Iowa side, is their state statute right now is at 102,000. They have an automatic inflator, so they've actually, over the last 10 years, they used to be 30,000 as well 15 years ago, but they've jumped it up, so they're like 102,000. So I would echo what Matt's saying, is make the policy, the procurement policy match that, but on a specific project, we can always be more stringent on that. And to your safeguard question, is still, if we think it's a $60,000 project, it can still go out for competitive bids. It's not, you're just not going to contradict your policy based on a project by project basis, but it does more so maybe in an emergency, or if it's there is some caveats on like equipment replacement and stuff, but it might give you leeway to avoid some competitive bidding procedures when you're stuck with, say, one sole proprietary person providing the equipment. But that could be the caveat to where you don't want to necessarily follow the more stringent procurement policy if you leave it lower.
Yeah, I would, like, I don't know if we need so many bids, because you put it out there. If we're saying we need 3 bids at this price, we may only have 2 people bid on it, and then we're just stretching out a project longer. But we should have something like, if we have, let's say we have a snowplow go down, and we need a big machine that's 30, 40 grand, that's an emergency, so we should be able to do something to get that.
Yeah, I mean, Greg raises a good point. Just because you change the threshold from 30 to 90, that doesn't mean that you can't, for any particular project, still do more than what the state statute and the code section provides. So
it's kind of my thought process on having those safeguards, just in consideration. Like, I always consider Valley kind of a very much a trade type of a town. There's so many families here that have trade companies, and I don't want it ever to be perceived like we're favoring someone, and that there's just some type of level of like, this is what we do, but also keeping it local. That's what I was thinking about the safeguards, that there's not like, it doesn't ever get perceived as favoritism in any way, shape, or form, even like now or down the road, just something in place.
Well, I mean, if the council wants some kind of graduated, we do this when the amount is between this and that, and we do another thing when it's between this and another amount.
Yeah.
I could certainly
Doesn't have to be so formal. but yeah.
borrow from what other municipalities do, and you can take a look at that.
I don't know, that was just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think Jimmy too, you're just hitting on something is, if we have we were just talking to, like, say, a repair company, it's like you might only hit 1 or 2 guys that you know, and yet you cast a big net and say, do you guys do roof repair? No. Do you guys do gutters? No. Those you start going down this trade list and it starts whittling it down. I think the thing, Melanie, you can look at too is make sure we're contacting enough contractors, not necessarily receiving enough bids.
Yeah.
So that convolutes it a little bit though, Matt, but
You never know when enough is enough.
You're right.
But
Right.
there should be
Understood.
attempts
Yeah.
to contact several, even when we're doing it informally.
Okay.
There should be attempts to contact several contractors, because unless you contact several, you're not really being competitors, in my opinion, right? You just contact one and go with that one. Well, that's not a competitive process by any means.
I think more in favor of just following the state, and if we run into a situation, we go.
I'm fine with either way. I just wanted to throw it out there for discussion.
Which way do you want to leave Matt too, guys?
I myself would just stay with, he was just saying that, go with the state at the 90,000, and we can always do whatever we need to do for the contract,
Right.
for contracts, so. That's how I would like to see it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, that's what I'll prepare.
that's your direction to go.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Greg, you might as well stay up there. Yeah, city engineer.
I didn't look that far ahead. Item A then, water treatment plant expansion project with Erickson Construction. Progress on that project's going very well. Really, kind of the big picture schedule that we're hearing is hopefully June, they wrap a lot of this up. July, they're starting the plant up, and by August, we're pumping water that is treated into the system. It's kind of the global schedule, but there's still a couple little things that need to happen to nail down the schedule. So we'll hear about that over the next couple of weeks with all of the trades and everything else starting to come together here. So, but tonight we do have application for payment number 17 from Erickson Construction in that amount of $451,800. Having reviewed that, we do recommend approval, and we'll send that off to the state for reimbursement with the SRF loan process. And that does take them to about 91% of their contract value.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for approval of resolution number 2026-25. Payment number 17 in the amount of $451,800.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-25.
I'll second.
Vote please. All in favor?
Item B then, FY26 water main replacement. That's been a topic that we've talked about for a couple months. Basically, the contractor is finishing up another project, and they are hopefully going to be done the week of Friday the 19th on that project is what it's looking like. So they're looking to get here the week of the 22nd. We actually just confirmed the date of the pre-construction conference for next Wednesday with staff and key members of the utility companies on that. So all the notices and everything else will be going out, so that activity will commence. We drafted public notices. All those will start going out now that we get some firm dates from them for the public and adjacent property owners and such. Globally, what we're hearing from preliminary discussions is they're going to start in Richmond because that does have a subcontractor on that segment for a majority of that they have scheduled. And then they were going to move to Charles, and Charles would also include the water main and or the storm sewer. Which one becomes first is depending on which pipes are the elevations and everything for when they have to cross everything. So That will get determined, but regardless, if one goes before the other, then they'll flip-flop and keep doing both of that. I think Mr. Dean, you asked about that last month, so that's where that one is. And so then that work would then commence in June and then continue all the way through the September of the fiscal year.
And Greg, while we're doing these, we're gonna be addressing the lead lines too, right?
Correct. We did not bid that because we didn't have the inventory, and a lot of that's actually unknown, so it doesn't actually, the lead and copper inventory actually isn't very useful for us right now. But we will be addressing those if we do come across that. That's of course mandated by EPA, so those will be addressed. Any other questions on that project? Item C then, Champion Shore Sanitary Sewer, Storm Sewer, and Water Main Improvement Project. We did receive bids May 5th. The low bid was LG Roll-Off Construction Company out of Omaha, basically about $5.8 million. The bids received all exceeded my engineer's estimate, not mine, my staff's. I was on it too, but my company's engineer's estimate. So we were over budget. We have been talking with Roll-Off now over the last month to try to negotiate and review. Basically what we found was their dewatering number for the project scope was larger than what we included in the project. So what we have talked with the developer on this as well, because obviously the development is paying all of these costs 100%. And so item 3C, I'm jumping down there, is that's the change order deduct is a $2 million, $25,000 deduct. What that does is removes the dewatering contract portion of the project from roll-off, and then it will be self-performed or self-contracted straight to the subcontractor, and it's basically in the tune of $1 million. So it's basically a savings of $1 million to the developer to get the project in line with.
Well, that explains that decrease.
Yeah, so it gets it real close in line to where they need it to be for the funding of the project. So there was a lot of back and forth, and we appreciate Roll-Off looking at all of those numbers and talking with us candidly on how to look to see if we can make this work to make this development come to fruition. So, so with that, I guess we would recommend a motion to award the construction contract to LG Roll-Off Construction and our bid amount of that $5.8 million. And then subsequently, we'll just immediately turn around and write a change order there in that minus $2 million to remove that portion of that from their contract, and that will allow them to get started here.
Was dewatering part of the bid process?
Yes.
So there was an option there that if it was to be dewatered, contractors would be notified of that option.
The bid documents included dewatering, knowing that it would be needed based on the elevations of the lake and where the sanitary sewer lines are. We included a per foot cost in the bid proposal form. And then, so what we're doing is taking all that cost out and then just saying, owner will provide a dry hold for installation of the work for the contractor roll-off under their contract, and then with then we just contract directly with a different dewatering sub that was basically $1 million less that would perform the work for that project.
Because when the dewatering option, I assume, had to be notified like somehow, because they created a change order. Were the other contractors able to make a change order?
The dewatering was a line item in the bid proposal.
Hmm.
Yeah, so everyone had that same.
Because on the change order,
Yeah,
there was added cost, and the change order doesn't describe that. So my point is, if the dewatering comes out, do the other contractors have that option, say, all right, if it comes out, I can decrease my fee by other things, or I have to increase this?
If we looked across the board, state statute, I didn't bring that number with me, allows you to negotiate the low bid. But if we looked at the lowest two, actually, if you pulled the dewatering out of both of them, the bid results still remain the way they are now, where Roll-Off was first and Valley Corp was second. I don't actually remember who was third off the top of my head.
So if it's the lowest bid, we can just negotiate with just the lowest bid. We don't have to give the other contractors an opportunity. Right.
The statute 17,568.
New 17 something, but I actually had to read that.
That was really good.
A plus, Mr. Monaco, A plus.
Well, it's in your materials, guys. It's one of the statutes that or code sections that we'll be amending next month.
That's what I thought it was.
Worth every penny.
So I need a motion to approve the bid, correct?
Correct, please.
To LG Roll-Off Construction Company?
Award the bid. Said approve the bid. To award the bid.
I make it a motion to award the bid to Roll-Off Construction Company.
Second.
Vote, please.
I'm gonna abstain from it.
3 in favor. 1 abstain.
Who abstained?
Jake?
Thank you. 'Cause I didn't see it. You guys shut your lights off too fast.
No, I got you.
Okay, Jake, why are you abstaining? You have conflict?
No.
Okay.
And then subsequently, Mayor, if you want to ask for approval or a motion to approve change order number 1,
For the change order?
correct, please.
Okay, I look for a motion or approval of change order number 1, decrease of $2,025,000 to RJ Roll-Off Construction Company, LG.
I make a motion to approve change order number 1 to decrease the amount of $2,025,000.
Vote,
Second.
vote please.
I'll
Jake,
abstain from this since I,
Jake abstained again. 3 in favor.
Thank you. All good.
Yeah, all good.
Very good. Item D, then water main replacement plan. This topic, the mayor and Administrator Gorman and I were talking probably in April about the need to look at the water system as a whole, not necessarily from a treatment side, because that's kind of a portion that's already under construction and been worked on quite extensively, but then looking at what the distribution system looks like from a age, material, status, breaks, material, performance, all those kind of factors. And just to look at what the condition of the pipes are. There's a lot of, just to start with the candidate, there's a lot of unknowns on this. So we have good records back to say the 80s, and then we have some maps back to the 70s or 60s probably. And then after that, we get very sketchy of what we have in the ground and what is where and what size things are and stuff. So we're going off of assumptions that were mapped out in the 70s that show stuff back to the 1910s, when some of the town was originally platted around the railroad. So, but what this plan is looking at is what's the condition of the water main system itself, the pipes, what's obsolete, what's critical in a standpoint of condition that it needs to look like it needs to be replaced, what portions can be saved, what meets current codes. And so we're just trying to give you a little bit of a high level tonight to understand what this document says, I guess. But then for you guys to look at it, and if you have more questions, we can definitely talk about it next month. But it was a directive of the mayor to be aggressive on the schedule and kind of get after it. So he did. So,
That's an understatement.
well, I'm trying to be nice. No, it's all good. So, like I said, we looked at pipe age. Basically, there's a lot of commentaries. There's nobody out there that's going to say pipes have to be replaced every 50 years. Pipes have to be replaced every 100 years. All of the factors across the country are different. So it's kind of a generalized statement, but AWWA or American Water Works Association or the ACE for American Society of Engineers, they all have commentaries that say, maybe a good range is 50 to 70 years or 70 to 100. So there's kind of the factors that we're looking at. And kind of to be candid is one topic that the city as a whole hasn't really done ever really is like look at routine maintenance. Say, you know, we have old 4-inch lines from 1910s or 1920s or 1930s. Those have never been replaced. So that's one of the topics that we looked at and mapped that out. Pipe size is one thing. You know, when it was put in 1930 or 1960, you know, it was I call it Valley proper, kind of the core old town, nothing against the lake and all that, the recent growth in the last, say, 20 years. But if you kind of look at Valley proper, it was, you know, 10 square blocks, you know, 6 north-south, 3 east and west, you know, so it's 18, but still you kind of get the point of, it was a very small land area to where, say, a 4-inch line could work for 3 blocks each way and stuff like that. So current codes say, you know, it's minimum 6-inch. So that's one topic that we looked at. And we just kept throwing all these different components on the different maps that you will eventually look at. And then we worked with People Service also and said, hey, where's been the last 15 years where all the water main breaks, and kudos to them. Mike Adair and his team dug out all the records and got back to 2010 of here, this is what we've seen for all the breaks, and we put those on the maps to know where are we seeing some potential issues with the pipes that are reacting with environmental features. And I'll use that a little bit loose because it's, you don't necessarily know, are those environmental features that are from reacting the materials with the surrounding soils? Is it a defaulty installation, if you will, that finally just showed up 20 years later and caused the breaks? Was there a utility company that hit the line, nicked the line, and then it finally showed up, you know, a year later? So those kinds of things always happen. They've happened here, so those are, again, some other ones. So then we just kind of keep taking all of these different components and layering them onto each other, and we kind of boil it down back to that project area number 1, which I kind of refer to as that Valley proper. And that's basically Richmond Road, kind of from the stockyards, the old days, all the way south to Miggs and that area, and then over to kind of Old Center Street is really where we kind of zoned in on. And then, of course, we did annex Ginger Cove and Ginger Woods that has some older areas too, with from the 68 to 73, I think is those development dates. We had a couple of those homeowners here that might even be able to fact check me if I'm right on that, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty close. So that was another study area that we would eventually even look at to continue what that replacement plan could look like over the next few years. So kind of put it in context, then we boil it down as we have the contract right now, that Verba construction starting on it. We just talked about a couple agenda items ago is replacing about 5,500 feet of water lines. And then we ended up coming down, boiling this all down to all of the different factors that I was just talking about, to about 6,000 feet a year. So it's kind of a similar size type chunk to bite off. So you have about another 18,000 feet of pipe to potentially replace from size, material, or faulty material main breaks that are causing operational issues with the People for Service team. And then there's still portions of the system that we would look just to abandon, that if we have 2 water lines going down the street, one's a 4-inch per se, one's a 12-inch or a 14-inch or larger. Some of the 14 or 12-inch is new, where they're, say, 30 years old. We'd look to just reconnect to those and not replace some of those footages as a cost-saving measure. So all that to kind of say, you kind of get towards the end of it, and we end up with this big price tag of about 13 million. So basically, Mike is going to probably talk a little bit, but then Lori has looked at it, just how do you start to pay for something like this if it's something that you want to move forward with. And that's what they've kind of started to do. But I'll just take a quick pause and say, if you guys have any questions, should have started. If you guys had even a chance to read it over the weekend or look at it, kind of go from there.
I read it over, Greg, and I am very well pleased. And that 13 million isn't all in one chunk.
Sure.
And we can handle that out of the sales tax, even if we split the sales tax out for the pool too. We've looked through that, and Lori has assured us that we are sitting very well financially to be able to do this and handle this all. Handle replacing the pipes and fixing our pool,
I guess
putting in a new pool.
good point. The only other thing I didn't really hit on too much, we talked about earlier, but I kind of didn't repeat it, was the lead line inventory stuff. This still talks about if we're replacing the main, we're anticipating we have to replace the lead lines. So there's still about $2.5 to $3.5 million worth of lead and copper topic in here that is included in that $13 million number. But that potentially could be looked at for alternative fundings with the state. EPA just, I think, released last week, I'm pretty sure, to this Nebraska, 35 million. I think that's per year, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't read it all. But I'm just saying there are funding sources that would be needed, could be evaluated, looked at, and see if they fit timeline, schedule, or is Valley applicable or eligible for those kinds of things. So.
Is the lead line, is that the service going to the house?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Sorry, Bill. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I get talking about this stuff
make
and
sure.
forget about, sometimes you have to explain it. The lead line is, the lead and or galvanized line is the mandated EPA lead and copper rules that if it's lead or copper is that the city cannot, as a public water system, cannot reconnect it back to the public water system without replacing it. I think that's mandated back in 21 was the final rule.
So it looks like, so we started this year on it, and then when you get through all the phases, it should be done by 2030. There's phase 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, I mean, to be candid, I think the mayor said, let's look at a 3-year plan. And that's kind of what is really what the gist of this is. When we were talking about that initially, it really didn't include a lot of, like, say, lead and copper work out that would be probably in the Ginger Woods area. That's what we kind of threw in as the would end up being the phase 4 type project to get a lot of that stuff reconciled with the state, or EPA, I should say, excuse me, not the state.
And then just really quick for topic for anyone listening, what this project looks like was as far as like replacing all these pipes. If I was located in any of these phases and I knew my street was coming up, how much should I anticipate having to accommodate not having water on in my home?
Good question. I guess let's maybe just do a quick overview is if the city has right of way, I'd say 95% of this occurs to where I don't think there's really the pinch points where right of way doesn't exist. The new water main would be anticipated to be between the back of curb, outside of the street pavement, and between the back of curb and then the sidewalk. It all depends on what utilities are in there. Gas lines like to be in there too. Telephone lines are there, power and everybody else. So that's where it gets a little fishy on where things go. But we would anticipate the main be there and then we would reconnect. So typically then if we do have to reconnect a water main, that'll be like a 2 to 4 hour type window on both ends. Usually they don't do those simultaneously. So that would be an outage potentially for say a block. And then when we come back to reconnect the houses after the testing's all done, that's more like a 15-minute to 30-minute per house. And that's just, the contractor typically just goes up. If they're home, they'll talk to them and say, hey, can we tie your service up, say 10 o'clock or an hour or do it now? And, like go take your shower and then let us know when you're done type thing, or get your laundry done. And so those are the short-term ones. Does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Can you talk a little more about the state funding or the grant or whatever?
This EPA released to the state of Nebraska $35 million last week. What strings are attached to that, I haven't read that in detail, and I don't think the state has gotten through all of it yet. But I do know the state has a lead and copper replacement, I believe it's a grant already programmed. I don't know what the eligibility of that is yet, or there's a possibility opportunity of subsequent funding to help defray or look at some of this cost. Yep. So it's not necessarily, say, a $13 million local project cost. Okay. You want to talk more about that, Mike?
Yeah, just a little bit more on funding. The mayor touched on a lot of this. First of all, we're very excited about the plan that Greg put together. I think it's really going to be good for the city and finally really address the water main problems that we've been having. And as we looked at the plan, the one thing we wanted to make sure is that it could be funded it could be funded along with the swimming pool without any tax increase. So we were looking at that very carefully. We can accomplish both by splitting the sales tax, which is now entirely goes to the water main work, to split it so that half of it could go to a swimming pool. And we could do all of that, again, without any kind of tax increase, but that would require a vote of the people, and that'll be on the ballot here in November. And so we're gonna have to really work at getting that information out to people to let them know that by splitting the sales tax, we're not turning our backs on the water main work that needs to be done. If we can't split it, of course, the improvements that Greg is talking about in his plan would still move forward. And this can be done by using the surplus, the sales tax, and if we can't get the grant that we've been talking about, and sometimes we get in trouble with that because we don't hit the minimum, or we're above the minimum income barrier for a lot of the grants that we would go after. So that could be a barrier for us, but that doesn't mean we're not going to try. We're certainly going to try. But if that doesn't work, then we'll go with probably a low interest loan from the Department of Water, Energy, and Environment. And that interest rate is about 0.66%. So it's a very good rate. So we would be going on that, and we'd probably separate out the lead line portion of it, as Greg said, approximately $4 million of that, so that we keep track of it in case grant money does become available. If the splitting does pass, then the pool can also be funded by issuing a $6 to $8 million bond and paying off depending on how far or high we go, $450,000 to $600,000 a year that would be taken out of the sales tax after it's split. So all of this, and again, talking to our treasurer who looks at this very hard, has assured us that these two projects are certainly very doable for the city.
Is there a difference? I know you want 3 years, but is there a difference if we go 4 years or anything like that? I mean, why? I know we want it done and you want it done as soon as possible, but is there advantages to make it shorter or longer?
I think the shorter period you do, the less suffering the city is going to go through, and the quicker we can get clean, fresh water and everything. Not that it's not clean and fresh now, but we can take care of the complaints, the water breaks, and all those kinds of things. So we want to accelerate it. In fact, we kick it around within the staff. Can we do it in 2 years to try to accelerate it even further? And what we've determined, again, a lot of this is just kind of speculation right now, but we think we're right, is if we try to do it in 2 years, we couldn't do the pool at the same time. So we would have to put the pool off.
Could we at least do a splash pad?
Well, possibly, after we look at some numbers.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at staging that anyway. Possibly.
Any questions about funding? Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Just really some other miscellaneous updates for council's awareness. The lift station pump replacement project that was bid in early 26. That's all of those are on order. I know one of the pumps is here, just waiting to be installed. Water supply number 4. It's a topic that I've been talking. I talked to staff about it probably a couple months ago. It was included in our 2020 preliminary engineering report, not ours, previous employer, sorry. But it was a topic that we're talking about the state that we have contingency right now under the SRF loan with the water plant. That was originally a portion of that was put on hold for other reasons. But they're looking at that to see if that's an eligible cost or expense that they would allow the city to fund, and then it would turn it back to you guys to approve and look at that. But again, that's a well that would provide redundancy to I'm going to call it 2 plants, but basically we have 2 plants, they're all connected. Provide redundancy for raw water supply to that, where right now, if we have one well, we actually couldn't operate both of those plants because the 2 wells by themselves cannot supply enough water to both of the plants once they're both online. So that one's continues to work through with the state on that. Catalina Water Main Phase 1, those improvements are looking to be bid in July, and then also the construction timeframe is looking like September is a good window is what I've been told, so we're getting that ready to get up to go. all of the sanitary sewers are under construction. The dredging is moving along very well. And I think street paving you'll see started here probably in July as well in that Catalina development behind the Love's Travel Center. So Planning Commission, one of the main items is that Lago Villaggio, I can't even ever say that, I always think of Vegas with it. 252nd King Lake Road is preliminary plat submittal, so we're just reviewing that for next week's Planning Commission meeting as well. So just some other good projects that the city keeps having move along. So happy to answer any questions if you guys have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. People service.
Good evening, Council. Mike here, People Service. I'll give a copy of the monthly report. Any questions on that before I touch on a few things? Okay. Greg alluded to something that I want to bring up is the cross connection surveys that have been out on social media, plus on the going out on your water bills and everything. The more that people do that, the more lead line inventories we can figure out, which is going to help with what he just talked about, because then we know how many we have, we can budget for it, plus we can put it aside for extra money. Those are available on the website. There are also links on social media, plus on all your bills, all of you guys see them. They're cross connection surveys. These are required by the state of Nebraska and the EPA to be done every 3 years by every homeowner to evaluate their potential of backflow from their homes into the public water system. So far, I think we have 35. So I just need more support on trying to get this done. My name is out there. My number is out there. I will help anybody figure out what they have. I've done it by people sending me pictures of their water meters, and I'll tell them what size they have, what kind of pipe they have, and I'll go to their home. Whatever we need to do, but we are required to do this by the state of Nebraska, and we will be out of compliance if we don't get it done. So if anybody has any questions, please call me. All you go home, get online, get it filled out. Right? Okay.
Is that on any age, everybody, or is it based on the age of the house?
Any house. Any connection to, so if our public water system goes below 20 PSI, it can cause a siphon from all of the water connections. So if somebody has anything connected to their home without a backflow preventer, that's a possible contaminant, it can be sucked into our water main. And it's an EPA regulation anyway, so it just has to be done. And very few people have done it. We started a campaign. I thought it was kind of flashy, and didn't get nowhere. So hopefully we can, people get your word out when you guys are out, seeing people, talk to them, tell them to do it. Offer my help if need be, but we just gotta get that done, because that also helps with the lead line inventory, that there's regulations attached to that we have to mail out notifications to everybody that has a galvanized or a lead line. And if we lower that number, that's the less paperwork that these people have to do, and the less cost that we have to do on the postage and everything else. So it's just a win if we just all do it. So
if you could send me something on that, I can get it in every neighborhood's Facebook page.
It's
already on Facebook, and I'll have it.
It's on the city webpage too.
I could download it from there.
Yeah. Mike will help everyone, because actually he's gonna come to my house this weekend and look at my lines, because I'm not going in my crawl space.
A lot of these old homes in Mid-Valley obviously have crawl spaces, and people can't go underneath there, right? So I am willing to help out with that. Just as being part of the community. This has nothing to do with my company or anything. I'm not paying my staff to do this. I'm doing it because it's just my community.
Well, Mike lives in the community. He cares about the community, and he wants to help people.
Yes, ma'am. So let's get cracking on that, people. All right. You guys did notice, as far as water usage, we are down from last year, which is good. It kind of shows that maybe our water conservation is working. Positive, right? That means less goes to Fremont and we pay less. That's even better. So that's kind of good news. Yeah, so that's all kind of good news. I don't have anything else. Oh, no, one thing. We are in a perfect place at this plant if any of you want to do one-on-one tours. We can see the bottom of the new filters. We can see all of that stuff compared to what is full, so you guys can actually see how it works. So give me a call. Number's out there. Is there anything else?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Police department, by the city administrator.
Yes, I just wanted to give a report on our progress with getting a new police chief hired. We've been very fortunate. We've gotten a lot of interest in the position. We have 11 people have submitted applications. So far, we've interviewed 6 candidates and are looking to do another one next week. In fact, we're in our second round of interviews for a few candidates. So we are moving forward with that. I do understand that the progress or the process seems to be dragging a little bit, but it's such an important position for the city that we really want to make sure that we're touching all our bases and making sure we're aware of all the options. In the meantime, I do have to say that interim chief Jeff Willman has been doing an excellent job. He's been just great, keeping things going, and I know that it hasn't been easy for him for a lot of reasons, but I just want to pass that along. He's been doing a great job, and the city's in good hands.
Thank you. Building and zoning.
If you want to go over this.
Hello, good evening, council and citizens of Valley that are here. I just want to quickly introduce myself. I'm Gabe Evans. I'm going to be the new building and zoning inspector here. I'm taking over from Marty, who I will address, yes, as my father, so the last name, if you see that. I'm super excited to be here. This is a new position for me. I have an experience and background in drafting, residential drafting and design, as well as construction. So I'm excited to take on this role with you guys and hopefully grow Valley to something great. If you do have questions for me too, you can find my email on the website or give me a call, or I can stay after too and answer questions for you guys if you need. Otherwise, does council, do you guys have questions?
Thank you, Gabe.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
City administrator. Should have stayed up there, Mike.
Yeah. Just a quick report that on the progress of the swimming pool. We are moving forward with that. We are going to have a public meeting on June 30th. It's going to be at the Twin Rivers YMCA from 5 to 7 p.m. So we're going to try our best to get using various methods to get the word out that the meeting is taking place. We have a lot to cover that night. There's some real exciting stuff going on with the pool, and we're really hoping we have good attendance at the meeting. So we'll get it advertised. But again, June 30th, 5 to 7 p.m., Twin Rivers YMCA.
Thank you, Mike. City attorney, Matt.
I will be speaking at a city attorney CLE in Kearney on Friday, and I'll make sure to put in a good word for Valley in that seminar with my fellow attorneys.
Thank you.
Tell them what a pleasure it is for me to represent Valley. Other than that, I don't have anything at this meeting, so I'm happy to take questions, but that's all I've got.
This is kind of nice, a pleasant change.
It is, yes. We're making progress. We've made progress.
Yes, we have. On the mayor's report, I just can't stress enough about the cross-contamination control and lead line reporting. Now, if you look online at the agenda, you will see an attachment, and you can pull up that form that needs to be filled out, what we were talking about. I can't stress it enough. The state is requiring it, the EPA is requiring it, and I don't want to have to pay some fine because our citizens aren't doing it. We need to really get it done. Thank you. Upcoming items, Planning Commission is June 16th, 2026 at 4:30 p.m. in council chambers. I move for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn?
Vote, please.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Thank you.
All in favor?
They were all in favor, right?
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Oh,
I'm like,
sorry.
I
I wanna
picked up that
stay.
list, was like, why is she not in favor?
We got that through. We got that process handled. We gotta get it done. Hey, look
Hey,
at
maybe
look at this.
I have an idea. We're gonna make a t-shirt for Bill when he walks.
Yeah.